Whether you are beginner or rated player, plus 1500 rated player, these 5 chess traps will boost your win rate instantly. So let's start the video. The first one is against Queen's Gambit. So after d4, d5, white plays c4, we play e5, attacking the center and counter gambit our pawn, which is also known as Albin counter gambit. And after white accepts it, we play d4, advancing our pawn. And right now, we are controlling the squares where the knight can land. This square is controlled by the pawn, so the knight cannot land, otherwise it can be captured. So, white decided to play e3 and try to exchange the pawn. But here we go. We play bishop to b4 check. Now, if the king moves, he will lose the right to castle. So he blocks it with the bishop. And now, we sacrifice the bishop. Yes. And after he takes the bishop, we will take the pawn. Wait. The bishop cannot take the pawn because this is pinned by this bishop. So after he takes, we takes the pawn with the check. If the king takes the pawn, we will just simply take the queen. So he cannot take it. Instead, he plays queen to e2 to protect his queen. And here, if we promote to the queen, he will first take this with the check. And after the king takes, he take with the rook, where the position is completely equal. Any player cannot castles and both have equal pawn and equal material. So, we have to give a check where the knight cannot block it. If we give check right now, the knight will block and nothing will happen. So, do you know what we will play? We play promotion of knight with check. Yes. And if the king moves anywhere, we are just up a knight. And if the rook takes, now we play bishop g4 check. And no matter wherever king moves, we will just take the queen and win the king. So this one is the first one. Let's start with the second one. So the second one will also against the Queen's Gambit. After d4, we play d5. And after c4, we play e6, just decline the Queen's Gambit. White puts pressure, we defend it, and now white wins our knight. And here we play a tricky move, knight to d7. And this catches many advanced players who think deeply but miss some things. Here white calculates that he can take on d4, and after white takes, he can take it with the knight also. Why? Because if we take the knight, he will take the queen. Yes, it is true, but here white something misses. After take and take, knight takes, black sacrifices the knight, and after bishop takes d8, here bishop to g4 again, and in this position, king cannot move anywhere, so the queen has to block, and here you can go crazy by just taking his bishop instead of queen, but we should take the queen first so that the king will lose the right of castle, and then we will also take him. In this position, if you count the material, we are down one pawn for one knight, which is very good, and we are winning in this position. So let's move on into the third one. In the third one, we play against e4. So after e4, we play e5, normal king's opening game. After knight f3, we play knight c6, defending our pawn. Bishop c4, the Italian game. And in this position, we play something crazy and break the opening principle by playing knight d4. Yes, we should not move twice a piece in the opening, but this is just a trap. Here, white says that this pawn is free. The pawn on e5 can be taken and it is not even protected. And after the take, he is also putting pressure on f7 pawn by bishop and knight. So, white takes the pawn, and here he falls into our hand. We play queen to g5, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn on g2, which also attack the rook and leads to lose the right of castles. But white says, okay, we will take your pawn and also fork the queen and the rook. White says no problem, and after takes, here is the thing. If white takes the rook, we take his rook with the check. king can never move forward due to this knight. If he moves forward, there is knight. So he will has to block. And after this trades, this is just too bad because bishop still has to block and black will just lose. So therefore, instead of that, after take, white plays rook to f3. Oh, sorry, rook f1, protecting his rook. And here we take his e4 pawn with check. And no matter what he plays, let's say if we block with the queen, we will just take his queen. And therefore, white decided to block it with the bishop. And here we go. We seal his king completely and end up the game with just mother mate. Fourth one is very common and even advanced level player fail for this trap, and this is for white. If you are playing as white, you will just start with the normal opening e4, e5, and after knight f3, knight c6, you play bishop c4, and here if black plays knight c6, knight f6, this is not a mistake, but here is a move which you can add pressure on f7 by playing knight to g5 and just putting so much pressure on the pawn, and it cannot be defended. See this. The only thing black can do to prevent is to play d5, and after white takes, black takes. And this is a mistake because even more than 1500 rated player fail for this mistake. In this position, the best move for black is to play after take knight to a5, attack the bishop, and after check something like bishop d7 and continue. But if black takes the knight pawn, here we will sacrifice the knight. See this. This pawn which we take with the knight is only defended by the king. So we are forking the queen and the rook. So the king will force to take it. Otherwise he will lose one of the thing. So after he takes, we continue aggressively and play queen f3 check. If the king moves g8, then this is just too good for you because however you take this knight doesn't matter. After queen takes, bishop take, king is not having any escape square. After bishop e6, he takes the bishop, and this is just a cycle. But if the king moves back, we will just take the knight and continue our game. He sees that this knight is under a double attack. This bishop plus this queen is attacking on the knight, and it is only protected by the pawn. So if you just decide to protect it, this is a simple checkmate with queen e7. So this just leads to lose the right of castles and become a one of pawn, and you has to attack the king continuously. If it instead tried to protect his knight, here are long variation, so many variation, but the best one is to play knight c3 and knight c3, and after black protect this, the best one is to protect it by here, but if it protects by this move, while also threatening to take on c2 and fork king and the rook. Okay, this knight is protecting it and also threatening to take and fork, which is not bad. But after a3, we sacrifice the rook also, and after knight takes, we play king d1, we takes the rook, and here is something crazy. We will take it with the check, the king will has to move. If he will push it here, congratulations. Queen f7 check and king d6 lead to knight e4 checkmate. So, if the queen takes, we will just take it for free because our queen is protected by the knight. And we are winning. So in this position the king will has to move. Let's say if we go for pushing it here, we are never going to castle right now here because we have lose the right to castle, but here is a very tricky move, queen to f7, which is threatening a checkmate but very hard to see for intermediate to beginner player. And if you play something like let's say attacking on your bishop, letting him to move away, threatening. So here we are having knight e7, e4, checkmate, no matter what. So this is also a very good trap to play in 2025. But the point is that in this position, White, when we play knight g5, black is having several options. For example, he can even play bishop to c5 or play after t4, or he can just ignore it, but this is a blunder move because then you can just take this pawn and fork the queen and rook. So, but if you want to me cover all the variation, comment in. Last one is my favorite one. Even advanced players fail through this. It happens in the royal soccer. So after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, white plays bishop b5, the royal opener. And where we attack the bishop, bishop moves back, we attack him again, and after he moves it all the way backward, we play a d6. This is quite awkward move, and white sees it and tries to open the center, which is not a problem. It is also a good move. And here we take him with the knight. And after knight takes, we take him. Here it is very natural to take this pawn. After white takes it, this is a very big mistake. This loses the game instantly. Yes, we attack the queen. Normally, if the queen move anywhere doesn't matter, we will just push the pawn and the bishop is trapped. So black tries to play something better and he plays queen to d5 and think that he is winning because he has so much threats. He is also threatening to play check, but also threatening to attack the rook, and now there is nothing for black as he thinks. But here we go. We play bishop e6, attacking the queen and protecting our rook with the queen. So white plays queen c6 check. Why? Because if he moves anywhere, we will just trap the bishop no matter what. So he gives a check. He will come back again, and he goes back again, attacking the threatening to play checkmate. But in this position, our rook is completely protected with the queen. So we will just simply play c4 and the bishop is trapped. After the trade happened, we are down 2 pawn but up a bishop. And you can just completely go normally development, and after castles, here is another x-ray. The queen of a queen and rook. And once the queen move anywhere, we will just take the rook. So these are the 5 chess traps.